Stop, just pause everything you are doing for a moment. Put an end to the frantic rush of your inner world and allow a profound silence to settle over you. This very moment holds a sacred and deeply personal purpose, one that was woven into the fabric of your being long before your physical form took shape within your mother's womb. This destiny is not random. It is an eternal engraving placed there by the Lord who sees all. He has witnessed the unseen tears that fell in the dark, the nights of restless searching that no one else knows about, and the silent, unuttered prayers that never left the sanctuary of your heart. The Lord is now stepping into your experience to bring absolute clarity, and this message is not for the masses. It is not a hazy whisper carried on the general wind of life. This word is aimed directly at you, the one who has been separated, forged in the heat of isolation, and awakened by a silent, inexplicable agony. You are the one, the chosen vessel, and from the invisible, eternal realm, God has pinpointed November as a profoundly crucial juncture in your journey. This month is designated as a time of sacred separation, deep purification, and radical rebirth. It marks the start of what you will come to know as a holy retreat, a significant drawing back for the chosen one. A key person is about to vanish from your life, not as a sign of failure, not as a punishment for past mistakes, but purely because a major revelation is imminent. This vanishing act is not cruel or haphazard. It is the final examination, the last necessary step before the grand gates of glory are finally opened wide for you. You have prayed with relentless faithfulness, and you have waited with enduring patience for what seems like an age. Despite the invisible bleeding of your spirit, you have held the line, you have forgiven where it was impossible, you have kept your peace in the midst of chaos, and you have continued to pour out unconditional love. The Lord will not delay any longer. His action will be swift, direct, and decisive. He is about to act, and he will cleave. However, before the identity of the departing individual is revealed, God is calling you to prepare your spirit, not your intellect. This severance will be unlike any you have experienced before. It is the ultimate cutting, designed to pave the way for a magnificent and completely new season in your life. Understand this deeply. November is set to be a pivotal and life-altering month for you. Prepare your heart for what lies ahead, because after this transformation, nothing will ever be the same. What has been carefully hidden in the silence is now ready to be unveiled to the chosen one. Heaven itself has issued an ordinance of separation to be executed this November. Someone who may have felt like a lifelong friend, a source of comfort, or even a deep spiritual connection, is about to suddenly and irrevocably leave your specific path. While your human mind may perceive this as a shocking event, it is, in reality, a meticulously planned act of divine intervention. For a long time, this individual has subtly confused your spirit. Though they felt familiar and necessary, they have served as a covert obstruction, clouding your ability to see your divine calling with crystal clarity. Their words have been a complex mix, both seemingly healing and wounding, supportive yet quietly controlling, and their love has been conditional and tethered. The chosen one has carried this particular soul for far longer than was ever originally intended. You held on, hoping for a turnaround, patiently waiting for a positive change, but now heaven has declared their season over. You must internalize this truth. Losing this person is not a loss, it is a profound liberation. They have consumed far too much of the holy space within your heart, a space that was divinely reserved for the manifestation of God's ultimate promise to you. Though their presence was initially allowed for a season, it is now casting a shadow over your spiritual development. With absolute kindness and sovereign wisdom, the Lord is now performing a necessary spiritual surgery, cutting off that which no longer aligns with His specific plan for your future. This is inextricably linked to the truth of God's unavoidable presence. The world is saturated with Him, even if we choose to ignore it. He is invisibly active in every corner of creation. This reality unveils the spiritual emancipation you are about to feel. God's unavoidable presence is the active force behind this individual's removal. He is meticulously clearing invisible obstructions to perfectly realign your heart with His promise. and ensure your growth unfolds precisely according to His will. Yes, the sharp agony of memory will surface. The sting of the empty space and the hollow echo of unresolved questions will certainly come. Yet the Lord speaks this profound truth to the selected one: I would rather you cry while walking in my perfect will than celebrate the temporary, fragile solace of postponement. Their departure is not a punishment, it is a powerful release. As the sage Salavar insightfully adds, when you begin to elevate people above God, God will graciously intervene, sometimes by taking them away to refocus your ultimate attention. Spiritual equilibrium is severely upset when a human connection morphs into an idol, becoming more central than your vital relationship with the divine. God removes such individuals to recenter your focus and realign your sacred priorities back to Him. God's ultimate desire is for your connections to sharpen and elevate you. Salavar points out that God may remove those who are currently detrimental to your spiritual well-being or who are causing you to become too comfortable, creating space for new relationships that will genuinely challenge and inspire you along your spiritual trajectory. The Scriptures remind us that the Lord disciplines those He deeply loves. As part of this loving discipline, God will bring a relationship to a close if it is causing you to stumble into sin or drift away from His presence. Just as a loving earthly father will chastise his child, God has the authority to sever ties that are leading you in the wrong direction. This action is a correction born of love, not a rejection. Furthermore, Salavar suggests that when God removes someone, He may be clearing the ground for an entirely new connection. Letting go of one person often makes the perfect space for someone whose path is far more aligned with your ultimate purpose. God is always working to ensure your relationships fit perfectly into His magnificent, larger picture. Losing a loved one can be a severe test of your faith. As Salavar notes, God can separate you to see if you trust Him fully. When God moves people out of your life, it is a powerful opportunity to strengthen your faith, believing He knows best, even when the immediate pain is hard to bear. Some individuals in your life may be subconsciously forcing you to adhere to outdated habits and ways of thinking. Salavar advises, God can take them away so you can walk in freedom. People connected to your past can sometimes hinder you from fully embracing the new life God has meticulously planned. By severing these old ties, you can break harmful cycles and finally walk in genuine spiritual freedom. Salavar emphatically stresses that not every person you currently know is destined to complete the journey with you. Some relationships are only meant to last for a specific season. You must have unwavering faith that when God performs a removal, He is doing it to bring your life into absolute alignment with His purpose, even if it means releasing those you assumed were permanent fixtures. Salavar continues, God desires to be your ultimate source of peace, joy, pleasure, and life. If your connections begin to serve as emotional crutches that replace your vital dependence on Him, God may lovingly eliminate them to draw you closer to Himself. God must always be the source of your most intimate and closest relationship. When people exit your life, it is rarely a mere coincidence. Often, it is God's loving, active hand at work, guiding you toward protection, deeper growth, and an intensified relationship with Him. Trust this profound process, even when it feels agonizing, because God's plans are always for your ultimate good. According to Salavar, God is privy to the intentions and hidden dangers within their hearts that are invisible to you. People in our lives can sometimes harbor invisible threats, such as deeply toxic attitudes or destructive patterns of behavior that jeopardize not just our physical well-being, but our souls. Even though the separation may be immediately painful, God removes these individuals as a necessary protective measure. The Bible is clear: avoid forming alliances with those who distract from your true path. Salavar clarifies, spiritual development might be hampered by relationships that distance us from our faith. God may remove you from people who simply do not fit with His divine plan for your life, whether those connections are friendships, romantic relationships, or professional alliances. Remember this truth: God removed them for a profound reason. It may only be for a season, but you tread on dangerous territory when you attempt to become the sole decider. Chances are you would be operating not from godly wisdom, but from a place of emotional distress. The reality is, leaving even terribly toxic relationships is extremely difficult. Old wounds and lingering pain from your past can keep you shackled to something far beneath God's glorious best for you. When you face these hard choices about removing people from your life, it's easy to feel lost and utterly unsure of the next step. However, you must remember that there are clear signs God is actively trying to facilitate a removal. If you have a pattern of selecting poor partners or allowing others to compromise your otherwise sound judgment, you must train yourself to trust God for guidance and not your own limited understanding or emotional turbulence. God is protecting you from the possible hurts, disappointments, or distractions that could successfully thwart the magnificent things He has in store. Moreover, this elimination process is fundamentally about the development of your faith and spiritual character. It compels you to depend solely on God and not on human beings. It challenges you to grow stronger, more resilient, and closer to your Creator. When God cuts away what is no longer needed, He is simultaneously commanding you to fortify your faith and pay far closer attention to the resonance of His words. During this time, learn to hear God's voice with greater clarity and walk with a newfound spiritual freedom. This cutting can lead to a powerful, genuine spiritual awakening. This pruning is also a time for refinement, not just getting rid of the bad, but actively making what remains infinitely better. God takes someone away to communicate. I want to refine your heart, your mind, and your environment so you can fully become the person I created you to be. This refining process is a direct path to healing from past wounds, finding a deeper meaning in your life, and achieving a clarity of vision that was previously impossible. It is vital to embrace this process with faith instead of paralyzing fear. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask God, "What do you want to teach me through this? How does this make me stronger?" When you fully grasp that this trimming is a sure sign of God's love and His desire for your growth, you can look forward to the cutting rather than sinking into hopelessness. Never forget that this trimming is not the end. It is a critical, necessary step toward a vastly better start. It is preparing you for the next phase of your life, a phase marked by greater freedom, more abundant fruit, and an overflow of God's choicest gifts. Just as fruit trees become unproductive if left unpruned, you risk stagnation, unfulfilled potential, and missed opportunities if you resist God's pruning hand in your life. You also need to exercise divine patience during this process. It takes time for plants to regenerate after being pruned. As you navigate life without that person, you may feel weak or uncertain, but have absolute faith that God's timing is perfect. He is meticulously making everything work out for your ultimate good. Keep your heart open to His divine direction, even if you cannot immediately see the outcome. Remain tightly connected to God through persistent prayer and the consistent reading of His Word, and you will soon witness new, purpose-driven relationships and doors open that perfectly align with His plan for you. You must be certain that God's trimming is always performed with perfect love. It is never intended to inflict damage or isolate you. It is designed to lovingly guide you directly to your destiny. He keeps His gaze fixed on the bigger picture, the life He has planned for you, and works diligently to make that plan a reality. If God removes someone from your life this November, understand it is not a loss, but a profound divine gain. It is God's way of declaring, "I am making room for something better. Trust me completely and observe how I will use this change to create something truly magnificent in your life. Your spiritual progress, your growth, and your future hinge upon this pruning." Take this word to heart and step out in faith into the next glorious chapter God has written just for you. When God orchestrates a removal, it is a powerful, undeniable sign of His relentless love. This act is not simply a separation. It is a divine clearing, actively making room for the exponentially greater blessings, opportunities, and advancement that God has meticulously planned only for you. This realization transforms what might initially feel like a painful loss into a powerful, tangible revelation of God's direct care and guidance. One of the most beautiful and potent forces in a believer's life is God's favor. His boundless kindness, His supernatural gift, is what causes closed doors to swing open where there were only walls, and new paths to materialize where there seemed to be only dead ends. In almost every case when God moves someone out of your life, it is a clear indicator that He is preparing to bless you in significant, new, and unprecedented ways. This taking away signifies that God is intentionally creating space for you to receive a greater measure of His goodness, blessings, and support. Visualize your life as a garden. The soil must be cleared of weeds and old, stifling roots that actively block new life. Only then can new seeds be planted and new growth flourish. God's favor is like that rich, fertile soil. It cannot thrive if your life is clogged with people or circumstances that hinder its growth. When God removes someone, He is performing a spiritual deep cleaning. He is eliminating anything that could potentially intercept His flow of gifts and favor. This action is God setting you up for new seasons of prosperity and monumental success. This clearing is also an act of divine protection. God sometimes removes people who, whether knowingly or unknowingly, were standing directly in the way of your breakthrough. Their lingering presence may have slowed you down by discouragement, negativity, or even by injecting subtle, poisonous doubt. God's favor does not thrive in environments that are heavy, negative, or restrictive. By eliminating these factors, God is actively creating a holy sanctuary where His favor can flourish and multiply. It is crucial to remember that God's favor is not earned by your good deeds. It is a gift, a blessing from Him. However, like all blessings, it requires a heart and an environment that are prepared to receive it. God's act of removal is His primary method of preparing your heart and your surroundings to welcome His favor. He is getting you ready to step boldly into the absolute fullness of what He has promised. Furthermore, when God takes someone away, it is often a powerful sign that He is sending someone else, someone who is a far better fit for your current life, your specific purpose, and your glorious future. The empty space left by a removal is not a void of sadness. It is a space of sacred waiting. It is perfectly sized for something infinitely greater to enter. That space is being prepared to be filled with new, aligned connections, relationships, and opportunities that are precisely in tune with God's will and eternal plan for your life. This is the paradoxical yet potent way God's favor works. This removal is not a punishment or a rejection. It is an undeniable sign that God is intimately involved in your life. This is His specific way of showing you that He is aggressively working everything out for your good. Seeing this removal as a sign of favor shifts your perspective from one of despair to one of profound hope. You now know that God's plans are superior to your own, and what He removes today is only making perfect room for what He intends to add tomorrow. There is also a deep spiritual principle at play here. Those who are ready to trust God's plan and willingly let go always receive their reward. Clinging tightly to what God is moving away only makes it harder for you to accept the greater blessing. When you release with faith, you simultaneously make room for God's very best. This demands immense bravery and humility, but it unlocks a life overflowing with divine opportunity and gifts. Do not step out in fear. Step out with fire. Do not proceed with doubt, but with absolute faith. For the one He has picked, what comes next will be exponentially more significant than what has just passed. So, the chosen one takes a massive step forward, feeling lighter, wiser, cleaner, and undeniably stronger. You are not the same. You are different and new. You are marked by obedience and dressed in glory, ready for the destiny that was written on the scroll of heaven long before time itself began. This is only the beginning of your grand new chapter. This prize is reserved for those who stay anchored in the spiritual wilderness, who embrace the quiet solitude, and who follow divine orders even when the cost feels astronomical. The selected one is no longer waiting. You have arrived. If you know deep in your soul that this word has come directly from the Lord because it has stirred your heart, brought tears to your eyes, and resonated with your spirit, then this is your moment of ascent. Type "I receive it, Lord," right now. Let heaven record your response. Let the sound of surrender break the quiet stillness. This is the moment for your agreement. You are not speaking for the general audience. This is your personal answer to God. Show him your yes. Let him know you have heard and obeyed. Type it now. "I receive it, Lord."